So the last time we met, I combined and kind of labeled, if you go to, the attendance policy 3050, right, yep. And then kind of labeled where everything came from, so when this yellow part, it was from the sample 2, but everything else is from sample 3 that ISBA provided and or blue from a previous policy. So one of our conversations was, do we, really just look at our old policy because it did work?
Right.
So I kind of put that in there, but this one was hard because there were so many various versions.
Right.
So.
And I think, and I guess we'll wait for Ramona to come back in, I personally think we need to take the old policy and compare it comparatively with whatever changes, alterations, whatever have come down the pike, because if it worked before and that's what we were governed by, I don't know why we wouldn't keep it in line with that, and make sure it aligns with statute, which I'm assuming it does, so.
So this is a merged one, but if you go back up to policy board consideration, the old one is listed at the bottom, the green LJSD right there. So, and in your, previously we did print those off, so if you guys have your binders, you have all of that, but this is the old one. And we do have a draft in the deal to work from the old one as well.
Is that, cause I'm actually in the drive trying to pull it up. Anywho, let's see here.
Yeah, so it was there's a 07 version, there's
right,
the 13 and there's the 16.
So is the 07 the one, or is it the 16?
I don't know that there's been many changes from
07.
It's pretty much the same.
Okay. So 07. I'll open 13. And I'll open 16. Oh, I like the font back in 07.
I knew you would. I just pulled that one up.
I'm not a big Times New Roman. New Roman, yeah. I'm not a big fan of that one.
But it doesn't look that much different. But we can't see what they changed, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, that's right, we got stuck because we didn't, the board has to decide what truancy is.
Well, I think from a committee standpoint, what we should do is take the old policy and build off of the old policy with what has been suggested, whatever, as long as it's aligned with statute, to give the board something to work off of, because the reality is this was what the district considered as truancy.
Right.
And does the board still agree with that, or does it need to be changed to support the teachers and the students with the expectation of, this is what attendance is.
Weren't we gonna get, was somebody gonna try and find us the old policy?
It's
here.
in there.
Oh, is
It's
it in
the
here?
07.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But what I was saying is they did an 07, a 13, and a 16, and there isn't much different. And I don't know what the easiest way is. We did print, and we can reprint if you guys don't have your binders, but So there is one of just looking at it side by side on paper, just
Mhm.
laying it out, but I did try to add in here, so
Yeah.
anything that was in the old one, I put in here.
Okay,
And we can try to just slowly, paragraph by paragraph, say, some of
Sure.
them are saying the exact same thing, just worded differently,
mhm,
and what do we like
okay,
better? But there is definitely some overlapping.
oh yeah, I do remember us talking about
Mhm.
doing that, okay.
Because they do define in the old one what truancy is, what suspensions are, what absences are, what
Okay.
tardies are. And then they even have the cool little graphic 6-day, 10-day.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
yep,
So that is in our draft, but it might be easier to just look at them in isolation.
do we have to have all caps like in the middle of the policy? That just drives me nuts. Change it, I can choose to change it back, I guess.
Well, the attendance policy intro paragraph on the 2007
Mm-hmm.
is the blue paragraph that you've added
Mhm.
here.
Oh, I don't have that
It's also the same one in the 2016.
Mhm.
Yeah, I tried to merge them all together so that you could literally just line by line it, if that was gonna be easier.
Wait, so you merged the 2007 onto this highlighted yellow one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
On the draft, cause initially I
Okay.
didn't, but you were gone, and so then Ramona asked that question, would it be, can we do what we normally do, so then I merged it.
Oh, okay.
But like this yellow that I highlighted, that didn't come from anything, that's why I just put it's A2 sample, because we liked that verbiage,
Okay.
so. But then everything else is either the old policy or it's ISBA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't need to scroll through and
Mm-mm.
got it. Okay, so
Sorry.
you put no, I didn't catch
Yep.
that. I thought you were going from the A1, 2, 3, 4 things
Mm-mm.
from ISBA and merged those.
No, I merged
Okay.
our old to,
Perfect. Okay. Does Mountain View have to have 46 credits?
I think so, I think it has to be the same, but I'll ask.
Oh, I guess I should change that to it. I changed the, the following extraordinary criteria may be considered. I mean, it is considered, that is.
Where are you at? What paragraph?
I'm on, page 4, just above the ABCD.
Oh, there we are. Yeah.
Cause I mean, that is what we use, it's not a maybe, is my understanding anyways. And then after the ABCD, I, got rid of the all caps
Okay.
and just says these are not used in calculating the attendance record. Cause they're not.
Okay, so the only thing in addition to this
Mm-hmm.
paragraph is just those that are protected based on identified disability? That's it? Just that paragraph?
Well, oh, I see what you're saying as far as those that are considered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we sort of had this discussion, which, if I remember right, Lynn was saying that, because my concern were students that are, have some kind of medical,
Right.
autoimmune, whatever that might keep them, but she said typically they would end up on a 504.
We have a separate coding if there's a chronic, and so if the parents call in, we'll say, you know, if this is due to, I mean, even if it's doctor's appointments because of, then they're excused from that. It's the same as if like there's a counseling appointment and it's a reoccurring counseling appointment,
Mhm.
you know, it's the same kind of concept, like they're not penalized for
Yeah.
that ongoing,
Yeah.
right?
For having that.
Yeah.
Well,
So that was my question, if we should delineate that, also make it, or should we say medical 504, IEP, you know, although medical I guess can become a 504, but I don't know what the criteria is when it does or doesn't become that.
Okay.
Um,
So have we like gone through this from the top down already?
we did sort of, Lynn and I, yep.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm fine to go back through it, and then that's when we came across the statute where it was obvious that truancy is whatever the board says truancy is, and then it was like, well, we need to put all these back together, so this is the first time we're actually looking at it with everything merged.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm on I can't handle the fluff mode anymore. So
Where are you at, back at the very
I'm
top?
back at the very top. So
Okay.
that blue paragraph that we added in from our old policy, that's all it is. We're just championing for
Mhm.
why you have to come to school.
Yep.
Can we take it out?
Okay, go ahead.
People want just what it is. In the first red paragraph, I want to change,
Mm-hmm.
in order to graduate from a high school in Lakeland Joint School District, a student must complete, is that what it is, 46 credits?
Mhm.
Okay, even for Mountain View.
I'm waiting to hear.
Okay.
If I don't hear back from her, then I'll
We
run in there.
probably have it in a policy, cause we did that last year, I remember doing that with Lisa. Because I think we raised, well, I know we did, our requirements above the state minimum.
This would be under students and it would be graduation.
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe it's under instruction. Yeah, high school graduation.
Okay.
Okay, so we're basing attendance criteria on a theory
Theory, where is that at?
that, well, Okay, so it's in the red paragraph where
Okay.
the cursors. This attendance criteria is
Oh.
based on the theory that prompt and regular attendance in school is the beginning of dependability
don't care
in
about
adult. Okay, thank you.
We're basing it on, this is what,
In our 2700P, it says a minimum of 46 semester credits, 1 semester equaling a half year is required.
and for,
It doesn't delineate, so far I haven't been able to see.
okay,
Doesn't dual credit, engineering, science, middle school credit.
Okay, I have issues with the remaining sentences. Okay, so furthermore, regular attendance is important because valuable skills and information gained in the classroom may or may not show up on tests to be reflected in an academic grade. Why are we making that statement? I mean, what's the benefit of that statement, I guess, is the general welfare of all students is best served by regular attendance. Why, I want to take the rest of that out.
In our policy, it doesn't say there's anything separate from the 46. It says there's different ways to earn the credit, but it doesn't say less credit.
okay.
But Lisa hasn't gotten back to me, so.
And I think the IDAPA rule sets that, so maybe we can look at the IDAPA rule and see what it says for the lovely word alternative.
Well, it would be listed as a reference in our policy. Oh yeah, we don't put that on to it's 24. Then we have all credited, 2440.
That draft, oh, there it is.
Okay,
There's an IDAPA rule specific to required attendance too.
what's that?
There is IDAPA specific to required attendance as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull that up right now.
I just think 65% is so low, but I guess that's what the feedback was.
In order to get into an alternative school, your absenteeism has to be greater than 10%. That's one of the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always wondered if we had, if the questionnaire, looked like the IDAPA rule. Cause that's the other back and forth sort of argument is like what takes precedence.
Yeah,
You
cause
know.
it says it has to be one of the criteria in the subsection, so it's repeated at least one grade, has absenteeism higher than 10%, has an overall grade point average less than 1.5. Second, and then has failed one or more academic subjects, is 2 or more semester credits per year behind, is limited English proficient, who has not been in a program more than 3 years, has substance abuse, pregnant, emancipated youth, previous dropout, serious personal, emotional, or medical, court or agency referral upon recommendation as well. So it's
But
A
nothing
through
is-
M.
Yeah, but nothing for credits, it's the same then it would seem.
Other than you failed some stuff, which
Yeah.
then you'd be missing credits.
Yeah,
Because it says is 2 or more semester credits per year behind the rate required to graduate, so it's the same.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we decided to drop from 10 absences down to 6 per semester.
Yeah, they, so I had a note there, the feedback from admin, somewhere, I don't know if we just talked or I read it, was that in the past,
Okay.
that 6 days worked the best.
And if you look at the bottom of that little visual, they send out a warning letter at that 6-day absent, and then at the 10th day is when they withhold credit. So after you've
Oh, right here, okay,
Mhm.
6-day
At the-
absence.
yeah, I put it at the bottom because I don't know if we want to keep this or put it in there, but
I think it's good for
Mhm.
parents
it's a good visual.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so
But this is a hard one.
it is.
There's a lot.
So all students must be in attendance in each classroom 90% of the time when that class is in session. No credit will be granted to a student missing more than 9 days per semester. Okay, except
I'm gonna change all that to 6.
Am I reading this wrong? Because what we're saying up in the upper red paragraph, and granted, appears to be, I guess where my struggle is do we have different standards for secondary as we do for elementary? That's my first question. Because we're talking about high school specific up above, but yet it sounds like we're just rolling into general attendance throughout the entire district. So I'm a little conflicted on that,
And
but
then there is a kind of an elementary school. There's a whole little paragraph that we have down here for elementary schools. Like it says, elementary students are expected to be regular attendance at school with a minimum of absences. Excessive may be considered when deciding to retain or promote. School officials will have the same procedures as the secondary schools, except that credits are not issued for elementary students. When school officials believe a student has been excessively absent for reasons other than personal illness, the principal may request a truancy hearing with the Board of Trustees. Following the hearing, the board may vote to notify the court pursuant to Idaho Code 33206. So they are trying to make it the same.
And remember the blue comes from our old policy.
right.
So it is two of the same. We just need to decide which one we wanna keep or how much we wanna keep of what.
Okay.
So it's not that it's making 2 statements, it's actually the same statement made 2
Mhm.
different ways.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out which one we prefer. I mean, pretty much, I think, you can just take out the very first paragraph.
Okay.
We can do that, and then,
Okay, no, I have a problem with the second.
Yeah.
Students in secondary schools shall be required to register for a minimum of 6 classes each day. The problem with that is Mountain View and our new school for secondary, they don't. It's 3 per quarter.
Mhm.
So that's in conflict with,
So we need to
Those
put a
schools.
caveat to that.
or we take it out. I mean, what's the, I don't understand why we need to tell them you have to have 6 classes each day.
I don't think, I mean, I just think we make it, you need to be in attendance 90% of the time, or,
Right.
yeah, let's simplify it and not get into the
Take
weeds
the
of all that.
whole paragraph out?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, it should be 6, 7, and 8. Alright, let's do 6 through 8. Oh,
Oh,
poop, sorry.
That's fine, just control, there you go.
Okay. Jeez. Well, thank you. I guess I should have done that.
Yep.
Huh? Who sends out the warning letters?
remember they're, automated from Skyward, so it's the admin assistants.
And the warning letters are also in that directory.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, rework one of them, I think it was
It's linked into our board, our policies for board consideration.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. What my point is this paragraph started out with school officials. I'd like to know who the official is.
Oh,
So I reworded the sentence to state a student and his parents
Yeah, and that sounds better.
and his. His student and, let me change this. I don't know. That's a quandary. Okay.
the quandary is we've gotten so far away of proper English and grammar that people take those personally.
I know. So I was gonna say student and the parent, which is actually what it should be because the student is singular. Whatever. Maybe I don't need the, so a student and parent, well, that sounds stupid. Should it go back to his or her?
Just say the.
Alright. A student and the parent shall be warned in writing of an impending loss of credit due to excessive absences by building administration. Is that appropriate? Okay.
Cause that's who they're gonna talk to.
Do we immediately notify, I mean, is there a different, cause it already says, so there's a in writing and then it says we immediately notify. In writing, maybe. So we're gonna, so this should just be one sentence, right?
You could say by building, you could say a loss of, a student and the parent shall be warned in writing of an impending loss of credit due to excessive absences and shall immediately be notified when a credit has been withheld. Like you could just merge those two together.
Yeah.
What is the rule for writing numbers? Does it end at 10?
What's that?
I don't remember now.
I thought it was 9.
Is it 9?
What?
There's a rule for writing numbers, so numeric, we never use the number itself, and then whether it's spelled out or not, and I can't remember if it's 9 or 10. Cause
I
you
think
said 10 school days.
To 10. Yeah, it should be written out.
I wonder if anybody ever watches these videos. Is there a period? I don't know. Colon, semicolon, I don't know. Let's look up the rule.
These people and their grammar issues.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people could come.
Oh, and then I put the number in there. Jeez, Ramona. Okay, so why are we making them jump through all the hoops if we're saying shall approve? It says the principal, after hearing the petition, may request information from other school personnel and then shall approve or establish additional conditions for reinstating of the credit. Oh, there's not even a period or anything. So we're gonna give them the credit as long as they petition, but we just don't know what the conditions of the reinstatement will be. There needs to be a period right here. Thank you.
It's all good. Principal.
Change it to working draft.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be consistent, Roseanne.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, shall approve or establish. Well, either way, it's an approval, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, it's sort of odd sounding to me, but.
Wait, so let me get this right.
Can we
Our
just move
current
it?
practice is that if
Our previously current practice.
our previously current practice, our pre-COVID practice,
Yeah.
if a kiddo was tardy beyond all belief, or absent beyond all belief, not tardy, absent beyond all belief, and we send the warning letter and then we're like, okay, no credit. So then they file a petition with the principal and then the principal decides, okay, fine, I'm gonna give you credit.
I think there's a plan, there's work, they have to make up some of the,
Okay.
you know, there's an academic component to it.
Okay, well then, what's the status and how is it that they get before the board? Because it's in there that they come before the board later on down the road.
Yeah,
So I don't understand, I mean, is it that they only come before the board because the principal denies that?
that's what it says. Students may appeal this denial of credit by
Yeah.
requesting a hearing in front of the board.
I'm gonna call Jimmy and
Yeah.
see if he remembers, cause
Well,
I
cause
don't know
Lisa,
I don't know the last time that they actually,
well, it's been over 6 years.
so let's ask Lisa. 'cause
Well, I
she'll-
should say 6 years. But Lisa said before, students did come before the board. So,
What was that process?
right,
Yeah, I'll see if she's here.
Yeah, and what do, yeah, a couple of things. So I'm gonna change, this district on,
Go see if she's still here.
whatever this is.
Brooke might be able to speak to it too,
Cross
cause
that
she would have
out,
been
'cause that doesn't
the,
exist.
Clerk.
board clerk.
right.
This is our own fault.
Yeah, cause we don't have an attendance board, but,
And then there's some fixing above that too. On front of the board of trustees, okay. Yeah, and this, what is these admin guidelines? I mean, if we're gonna refer to them, then we need to have them available to the public.
right.
I'll just highlight it for now. And I just made that a separate paragraph, cause we're just talking about it, I mean, we can sort of leave it there, but.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Good, how are
nice.
you doing?
Oh, I'm living the dream.
Yay. Love it.
So, you guys wanted to know about previous life attendance policy?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like at the elementary, I'll just do the elementary level first. So, at the elementary level, if they went over their days and they were sent home notices that they're approaching their days or whatever else, and they still weren't in compliance, then they did come to the board. And then the board would make the decision of whether or not they're truant.
Okay.
If they made the decision, there wasn't a valid reason or whatever, then it did go to the prosecutor's office. And actually, I really didn't feel bad about it because it's charges against the parents. That's what a lot of people don't understand, not like against the child.
Right.
And sometimes when you file those charges against the parents, it starts the process of maybe additional help.
Okay.
If the child, if there's something going on in the household, and then the prosecutor and the county gets involved and it provides them, they can provide them additional resources if there's
Okay.
something going on in the home that's preventing them from going to school. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
And then as far as withholding credits in the secondary level, in order to get those back, they had to file a petition. What was that?
I'm listening to you and I'm like hearing little crunchy noises and I'm like,
Oh.
what are you eating?
So then they had, if they were found truant at that time, sometimes like the Joe Conroys of the world would get involved
Okay.
in stuff too, to make sure, you know, we want those kiddos in school. And so we would actually, if they filed a petition, along with just filing that petition, before we call them truant, they also did some community service. And so they had to state within the letter of what type of community service that they did and what they're going to do moving forward to stay on time and stay in school and stuff.
Okay.
Now, if they don't stay in school, then that is at the school level, is that petition.
Okay.
So if they don't stay in school, then it comes to the board. And the
Okay.
board decides whether or not they're going to declare them truant.
So they initially petition the school and then the building principal makes whatever decision they make. And then if there's a continuation, I think what I'm hearing you saying is if there's a continuation or they don't like the decision of the principal, then they come to the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then do we have a model letter, cause like you said that they would do like some community service, is there a model letter that they would use to petition the board, or
I
they
would have-
just sort of wrote in their own words, or like where's the criteria?
Yeah, I would have to see if I could find that.
Okay,
Cause I don't remember what that looked like.
okay, sure, and then there's, this portion, it says refer to attendance procedures outlined in administrative guidelines.
Yeah, those are the old admin guidelines, like the old admin handbook. So I think I have that on file, and I'll see if I can find that too.
Okay,
The admin guidelines, actually, I mean, I didn't think they were all that bad. It was something that Georgianne kept up on.
Yeah, but we haven't, I mean,
So that would be refer to the admin, you'd be putting it in the admin handbook.
right,
So-
those administrative guidelines we haven't used since my first year as an administrator. So,
Oh, so that's kind of weird because I thought we stopped using them when Becky got here.
right, so,
Yeah, okay.
we didn't use it though my first year with Brad
Yeah.
either. I don't remember having them.
Oh, there was, they were still in place. It didn't change until Becky brought in that admin handbook. So,
okay.
but yeah, I could probably find the admin guidelines and there's forms and stuff in there.
Let's see if I have it.
Okay. Alright, yeah, that would be good, and then, and I guess we could look at it and then decide
If there's a piece of
relevancy
that.
or not, should we send it forward to the board or not, or, okay, I think that
It used to be on the
answers.
district website, right, Brooke?
It won't be on the district website anymore.
No, it used to be, though, that's
Yeah.
where we had it. Is there do we keep any versions of
Do you
what-
have the DO shared file or DO shared drive? That houses like all the olden stuff.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll see if I can find it and I'll forward it to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Brooke.
You bet.
Let's see if I can find it.
Okay. When we say building administrator, alright. Well, okay, so a petition shall be filed with the school principal. should that be building administration, or does it go,
It would go to the principal.
okay.
So is it a may not or a will not? So it says, a student is considered to be in control of his or her own actions. Truancy or any suspension from school or class for discipline purposes may not be considered an extraordinary circumstance. So is it or is it not? I mean, I think that should be a definite. It seems to me it would be a definite. I mean, if you're suspended or, and it's a discipline issue, I mean, how would it not be?
So here's a 2-page letter that I found that it's from Georgianne,
Okay,
and it says, I don't know, I'm trying to look at it faster to see
Sure.
if there's the same, but I'm gonna just share it really fast
mm-hmm,
to your, both of your emails.
okay.
Just gonna make sure you can see it. Oops. I'll send it, send it to both of you, but Ramona, it'll come to you right now. And see if
Okay.
you can pull it up. Okay, it's pretty small, so you can't tell if it's the same exact.
Yeah, we need to fix this extraordinary, either it's capitalized. Oh, I see, that's the beginning, okay. Do we have to have or quotes around extraordinary
Hey,
cases?
we answered our question, Brooke, cause we're trying to find the old, admin
Where you at?
guidelines, cause it
Sorry,
references
I'm
to
on
policy, those
page,
administrative guidelines specific to attendance and trying to figure out
4.
when the high school would draft a letter.
And-
Oh, the
when it
extraordinary,
comes to the
okay.
board of
Yeah, it's like,
trustees.
do we
Got it.
really need to do that? I don't think so.
Not yet, but Brooke's looking for it. And I'm going through old
And that
emails
is
from,
Strike through, you
Georgianne
know,
to see
it's
if I can find
looking
it.
like an underline.
Right, my day.
should we switch these paragraphs? Should we, you're above there, I'll wait till you get down there. Yeah, that sounds much better.
I'm sorry, I'm tuning out. I'm trying to see if I can find the administrative guidelines.
No, you're fine. Oh yeah, that was
You'd
it.
think that there would have been a place where this kind of stuff was just housed.
Oh. Oh yeah, there was another thing too. Maybe I'll just ask that question. Is that right? There goes that air conditioning again.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna, I found truancy letters 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, so I'm gonna kinda
Yay.
share those with you, Ramona.
Okay,
Cause then we can decide what gets added into our file. If we're not even gonna use these, you know?
right,
So I just sent those to you.
okay. Oh yeah, there's our schools. Okay.
So I did kind of rework that paragraph at the bottom of page 3.
Okay.
I don't remember where's the next one. So, sorry, is that I didn't like the negative connotation of that sentence. I'm basically saying the same thing, just differently.
Oh, of. Completion of.
Oh, got it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great to me. can we copy those letters into this,
Yep.
because here's the other thing, I wonder if we actually had a truancy policy at one time apart from this, or maybe we just put it in here what habitual truancy is.
Do you like those letters?
Well, I just
I mean,
started.
they need to be word.
Yeah, probably reword it a little bit, but,
Do you want me to add, cause I can add all of them, or
Yeah.
what do you want me to add them?
yeah, just put, truancy letters, I would just make another directory inside the policy
Okay.
directory.
Okay, I'm just gonna move it right now.
Yep, okay, cool, perfect, and then we can
Yep.
mess with them in there, that way we're not,
Yeah.
I'm a little cautioned by the first paragraph on page 4.
okay, we're gonna get there. Okay,
Okay, so it's, the statement is, should the student not fulfill the conditions or have additional attendance concerns, credit will be withheld. I get in the event the additional conditions are not met,
I just find you guys a 2014-15 guide. I'm printing one hard copy for you.
okay,
oh,
thank
awesome,
you.
thank you,
Brooke,
Brooke.
you're fancy.
I am.
I think it needs to be 2 separate situations. So in the event the additional conditions are not met, then yes, credit would be withheld. However, if additional concerns arise,
We start all over,
exactly, you
Right.
can't just be like,
Mm-hmm.
you're done, so.
right,
Yeah, the process. That will be cyclical.
yeah, in which instance it might,
So,
sort of like the scenario that I shared
Mhm.
before with the family member got sick, missed a lot of school,
right,
came back and then got more sick, then found out it was autoimmune related things, so it was, kept
Right,
rolling into
snowball.
something else.
Well, and 33-204 really talks about that exemption of cause.
Yeah.
And we have it on this one.
Do we, okay,
Mhm.
cool, perfect, yeah, I think you and I,
Mm-hmm.
Discuss
I think we
that.
added it actually.
oh, maybe we did, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, all this thing is like, oh, we have new, equipment. Yay, that looks fun.
I don't know how to work it, but
Looks pretty good, or pretty easy. Looks like my shoes are calculators on the bottom of them.
oh yeah. That's cute.
Not that anybody looks at the bottom of my shoes, but they do leave an imprint.
So don't do anything you're not supposed to.
Right.
It hurt.
Yep. Wasn't me, like a kid with chocolate all over their face. I did not do it.
That's my crime novel. You know what I forgot to do? I didn't go to the store and get us fruit.
Oh,
Totally forgot today.
it's okay.
We did transportation breakfast and it just now dawned on me.
I actually like a lot of things in this, but. Huh?
You like, what'd you say you like?
I liked a lot of things in that.
Oh, do you?
But-
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have that one digitally as well?
I do. I'm gonna have to configure it. I'll put it on the shared drive. It's doing a lot of weird funky stuff, so that's why I printed it. But
I see, okay, so it lists all the policies. And the calendar dates. Oh yeah, see, I like this. I thought we did something like this where the instructional time was
Mhm.
actually outlined.
We
you
have
know?
a policy.
Yeah, I thought we did, yeah.
I just don't remember us using that after, maybe we used it my first year, but.
I like that statement. Instructional times for mathematics, reading, and language arts are required, while instructional times for all other subject areas are a recommendation. Reading time must be protected. Oh, I love this. Non-instructional extracurricular activities that do not complement the curriculum must be minimized.
Okay, here's what I wanna do, so it's kind of at the bottom, okay, it's kind of, if you can kind of scroll the page, if you can see the bottom of part 3, page 3, and the top, you're going the wrong direction. There we go, perfect, okay, yeah, that should be fine. That's right there. Okay, and the paragraph, should the student not fulfill the conditions or have additional attendance concerns, credit will be withheld. Students may appeal the denial of credit by requesting a hearing in front of the Board of Trustees. Okay, I wanna take that whole paragraph out. Credit shall be reinstated when additional conditions have been satisfied or at the completion of the semester. Do we need to state that if you don't adhere to the additional conditions, then credit's not going to be given?
I think that's a given.
I do too, but I also don't want to assume that everybody is on board with my train of thought. Because I think any decision made at a review hearing may be appealed to the Board of Trustees.
Mhm.
Because I don't want them to think that, well,
Right.
you know, I have to jump through all these hoops and then I can get my credit. Maybe they think all those hoops are not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be able to appeal that to the board. I mean, they should appeal the positive or the negative. I mean, and I say positive meaning
Yeah.
they're gonna get the credit and jump through the hoops. But I don't want them to think that the only reason they can come is
We want them
because
to
they've
have
been
an
denied
avenue.
credit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So so we're letting both parties know, the principals and whatnot. Everything can come back before the board. There's you don't. So is that sufficient, or do we need to state, you know, should you choose not to comply with the additional conditions, you know, credit maybe, or credit would be
I mean,
denied?
I think it's, any decision made at the review hearing may be appealed to the Board of Trustees, and the decisions of the board and the principal from each building shall be reported to the superintendent, and shall be clearly marked on the student's report card and permanent record. Like, I mean, I don't think you have to spell out that if you don't follow whatever you guys agree upon, then there will be additional ramifications. And you're gonna emphasize that in the discussion anyways.
I would hope that that would be emphasized.
Yeah. And then the next paragraph, they kind of define extraordinary cases.
Okay.
Well, here's the answers to everything. We were asking about the drug policy last year, or year before last, whatever that was. And the custody, everything.
That was a really good guideline
Yeah,
as a principal. I had it in a notebook
yeah,
and I had it highlighted, and the
it's-
pieces that were gonna be regularly and pertinent to me.
Right,
That was my Bible.
Yeah, it's,
We stopped using it.
yeah, this is a beautiful document. In my opinion anyways. So what do we have now in place of this? Anything?
The admin handbook
Mm.
that Becky
And-
created,
Hmm.
and that was called the admin guidelines. And really the difference is the admin handbook was all links,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just, there's no obviously table of contents, like you
Right.
just have to go through it.
Right.
So like I tabbed my whole,
Right, right. Yeah, I don't like, the whole linking idea. It's alright for writing stuff, but if somebody goes back in, I remember being in an IDB meeting here before last, and a document that had come before the board was brought up in that meeting, and the dollar figures were changed and saved, and I thought, so now the document that the board approved that was before we went to hard PDFs, you know? So yeah, the linking's cool when we're sharing or doing all that, but,
right,
oh yeah, and here's all the letters are in here too.
yeah, it was the guide, I mean, it's essentially, but you could do both, you could have a table of contents, and so you
Yeah.
know exactly which
Yeah.
page to find the narrative in. Cause that was the only thing is there was, to my knowledge, I never had a table of contents, so I had to go through and label it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big deal, but it would be nice for that to accompany a table of contents. But that was before everything was digital, you know?
Right, yeah.
There's something about hard copies.
Okay, so paragraph, decisions of the Board of Trustees and the principal from each building shall be reported to the superintendent and Board of Trustees at the end of each semester. Any permanent loss of credit shall be clearly marked on the student's report card and permanent record.
And you added the red, right? Any decision made at the review hearing may be appealed, and any permanent loss shall be clearly marked on the student's report card and permanent. At the end of each semester, the Board of Trustees shall receive a report regarding all review hearings held within the district and the status of student credit loss.
Right.
Yep.
Are you good with that? Cause I think the board should be made aware of
Yes.
how many students.
Yes, yeah, I
Um,
liked the whole, yeah, report and all that, yep.
Okay.
Because then it's,
Mhm.
you know, is this an individual student, is this a system problem, like,
Right.
that forces
Yep.
us to reflect on the process.
Right.
Right.
Yep,
And so, but what I found interesting is it says the superintendent and the Board of Trustees, so it's kind of implying that the superintendent doesn't know. So I'm wondering if there's,
do we need to add that language in that,
well, is there some way that is there a reason why the superintendent would be moved out of this, out of attendance?
there isn't a reason, but it shouldn't be.
Okay.
But we maybe need to, like, there should be something where review hearings are reported
Yes, to the superintendent.
like on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis or something. And then I do think there should be a report if you're withholding credits.
Yes,
They should know, but it doesn't say that. It says it literally jumps from building level to
right.
trustee level.
Well, the old language was like throwing in the superintendent,
Right.
and I don't think that's appropriate. There needs to be a,
Clear delineation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so the 2014, there is one, and it does have links, so it does have a table of contents. I was wrong. I don't think the version I got had one, because I had to label it all.
So.
Oops, no.
Remember, look at the admin guidelines, look at page 12.
Yeah, these aren't, this one that I have isn't, numbered, there's no page
It's the one
number.
where it says elementary schools extracurricular activities list.
Uh-huh, yep, I did see that, yep, got
How
it.
clear is that?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff through there. Yeah, there's, I was just looking, the other questions that the board had with relation to the school funds, you know, the students' funds. I mean, it's very explicit on how it was done, you know, what you were not to do, blah, blah, blah. It's like this answers like so far, all kinds of questions.
Significant amount of, yeah.
Yeah, that the board had, and it would have been so nice to just go to this, say, oh, right here,
And
and
they even had admission rates for athletics.
yeah, everything. Yeah, it's
It's all stuff that's not technically a policy, although some of it is, but,
yeah,
you know, it's the daily operating.
right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, and if there are any, you know, policies that pertained or reports or what have you, they were, yeah, it's actually quite nice. You and Lisa might wanna,
Yeah, Brooke just sent it to me digitally, so I'm gonna have Lisa look at it.
okay, here we go.
Okay, so any permanent loss of credit shall be clearly marked on the student's report card and permanent record. At the end of each semester, the superintendent shall receive a report regarding all review hearings held within the district and the status of student credit loss. The Board of Trustees shall review the report
Hold on, Lisa.
provided to the superintendent on a regular basis.
I like it. So, in this policy, it references our old our administrative guidelines. There's some really great things in there, we probably like it. Some of the questions that we repeatedly get asked that are not policy, but are just like, this is every day, they're answered in there. Like Rona's like, this has answered a million questions, we should,
Yeah,
Brooke sent it to us
it's all in
digitally,
here.
we should
It's
look
what
at
you
it.
used to follow.
Yeah,
Prior to?
Yes.
Yeah.
it's Georgianne's baby.
Yeah, it's great.
The
Yeah.
format is different, but
Yeah, we could have
we should spend some time.
Yeah, we could have like went past the billion things had,
we had this?
yeah, and somebody just said, oh, right here, blah, blah, oh, cool, okay, move on.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's pretty
It's
cool.
like what's all the instructional minutes at elementary, what do we have to, and yeah, there is statute on that, but principals don't like, it literally,
Yeah. What happened was a new wheel, it wasn't even a wheel, a new cog got created that clogged everything.
thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Michelle has been working tirelessly while we have been on squirrels.
Not really, I appreciate the squirrels,
we're
I'm
looking
just
for
like,
the
I'm just fixing
truancy.
paragraphs and I don't even know if it flows, so, whatever.
And this policy referred to this administrative guideline, so it's like, oh, so what were the letters in there? Let's see what they said.
So I've been searching all my emails and
Yeah.
everything, trying to find it, and we got Brooke in here, and so,
Who found it finally?
Brooke.
Brooke did. Yep. And sorry I didn't send that email to you, yesterday at the bus thing. I meant to forward it to both you and Michelle. And she answered back.
Oh,
Her email was attached to what you sent to me.
Oh, did I send it to you? Oh, okay.
Yep, that's why I responded, I just wanted you to know I saw it and I.
oh, and I
okay.
need to respond to her as well and just let her know that, yes, I did read it and
Yeah.
that you're involved.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yep, I will
And
reach
I'll
out to
CC you
Jessica.
on that just so that you know that it's it's coming out, cause
So I forwarded the one that she sent me yesterday, I forwarded to
Maybe
both of
responding to
you.
emails.
Yes.
So,
because I wanna say so much, but I don't know
So I
what
just
to
wanted
say,
you to know I
because
saw
we're
it.
still trying to
I
figure out.
Okay, thanks.
didn't wanna leave her hanging, so I'll
Yeah.
follow up.
And this-
Okay.
Lisa
All right,
too,
thank
she
you.
feels like she has like 500 emails.
Yeah, you know, working the law field, that is the back door to getting to anybody. And people don't really realize how much time is utilized in this backdoor approach that can get you side railed because, you know,
Yeah.
not only is it coming this way, but now you got people coming around.
But somebody's called you and then they left an
Mhm.
email and then
Mhm.
they called someone, yeah.
Mhm. And it just, yeah, it's not a good thing.
So my recommendation or suggestion on this one particularly is we probably should do like a working draft and then rename, like at some point clean this up and then read it through the lens of
As it
how it
is.
flows.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
just because there's so much here. Cause it's 7 pages long.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, see, this is actually like the procedure of the policy, cause it states policy 7260 student activity funds, and this is the guidelines for accounting and handling of money in schools.
Ramona's found a treasure.
Yeah.
She's loving it.
Yeah, and this would be like the procedure of that, and it's great, I mean, it's,
Yeah, it was our Bible.
yeah. I'm still looking for the truancy, yeah, and here's the other one, the evaluation protocols for staff and principals, which is the policy, and then how, oh, I see there are links in this one, there's feedback form, performance indicators.
Are you okay with the building principals will consider that paragraph, Michelle? Are you on the building principals will consider a student's attendance?
I am, and what I'm trying to figure out is why is it stuck there? Because, unless maybe we just need to, like you said, we need to redo this, cause it's getting all muddied. So I guess I will just keep flowing along with the paragraphs and figure out that the languages that I don't like. But we
And
say
we look at-
extraordinary cases, and then we, right below it, say the following extraordinary criteria.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it extraordinary criteria? Is it extraordinary cases? What are we,
Well,
what are we
the-
saying?
Well, the thing is, and that's why I was waiting for you to get, I think that extraordinary cases needs to be removed from where it is and, go, before
With
the
the
following,
It
blah,
just
blah,
needs to be
blah.
one paragraph.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the criteria is like the definition of this extraordinary case that we're talking about. So that's the criteria of whether it's an extraordinary case or not.
And then the next paragraph where it says a student is considered to be in control of his or her own actions, truancy or any suspension from school or class for discipline purposes is not considered an extraordinary circumstance. This is where they kind of felt like this is possibly double jeopardy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, so, and this is sitting on top of the streaming nets, and these are not. Oh, they were. That's interesting. Okay, thank you. Oh, but why is this way? There we are.
Oh my.
The spacing's off. Okay, just. All right. Say we take that whole one out. Okay. Oops, there we go.
am I right where you're at?
Why do we have to call them building principals? Aren't they just principals? I mean, we know,
Maybe
The
way
district
back in
office
the day that everyone was called
A building
principal,
principal? I
or,
don't-
you know, and so
I don't know.
there wasn't like administrators. I feel like they use building principals like administrators, that it's one and the same.
Yeah.
If you're a principal, you're attached to a building.
Right,
If you're an administrator, you may not be.
right. How about?
Rosanna, did you submit your maintenance request?
I emailed her and she said to do a work order, and can't do a work order, I don't have access, so
So did you ask Rebecca to do one for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
she was gonna have Chelsea do it.
So that you don't have any friends hanging out with
Yeah.
you?
No furry friends.
Ew.
Yeah.
I like to wear fur. What types of fur?
The hairy.
Spider or
No.
mice?
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah, there was some droppings this morning.
Oops.
Rosanna, when Michelle gets done with this one, then I think what we should do is we make a copy of this and then we name it for the next time we're meeting. So this says working draft 9/2/22. The next time we meet, we'll have working draft and we'll put the date, cause then we'll make changes and clean this one up.
Good idea,
You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
but we date it so we don't get
Yes.
confused by just working draft.
Oh, yes, I like
Don't you
that,
think?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's part of our key.
Wouldn't that make more sense? Okay, so what I did was the extraordinary cases are generally understood to be those in which the student's absence is yada yada yada. So I think if we go, principals will consider the student's attendance record as a whole in making their decision. Criteria considered when reviewing a petition for a waiver of the attendance policy are circumstances beyond the control of the student, parent, and or school.
I like that better.
All district approved testing or counseling, documented illnesses, illness or emergency medical treatment, death in the family.
Would you want to under C then reference, that exemption statute? There's right next to it, or is it fine to just have it below?
Hang on a second, I've got a space issue. Alright, so,
Cause you could do the, exemption for cause 33204 right next to that if you wanted to. I don't know that we have to, but.
the exemption for causes where on this form?
At the bottom, we have it listed as a reference,
Oh,
but it's specifically talking about C.
so documented illness or emergency medical treatment.
Yeah, it says when a licensed physician or a psychiatrist shall state in writing to the board of trustees of a school district that the physical, mental, or emotional condition of a child does not permit attendance at school and a petition is filed with the board by the parent or guardian of the child requesting such child to be exempt from the provisions of section 33202, the board of trustee may at its discretion grant that requested exemption during the existence of the such condition. The board may from time to time, as it may determine, require additional examination of the child and a report thereon. And then,
So you think maybe we should highlight that statute specifically there?
I don't necessarily, but I just know for consistency, there have been times we've done that, so
Right.
that's why I asked the question. I don't necessarily think we have to. I think at the bottom is fine, but
What do you think, Ramona?
Ramona had said that some people didn't know that that existed, so I just,
I'm sorry, okay. Oh, this right is this the one that we're talking about?
it's, go
Oh,
up,
creepy.
Rosanna. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Do we want to reference that? Cause you said people didn't necessarily know
Yes.
that that existed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that was feedback that we did get from several parents, is that anytime we know that, oh, we're saying this because of some law
Mhm.
or
Right.
case study or something, that we reference it so they know also.
I also think it backs up the school when they're asking for documentation. Because prior to COVID, we required documentation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is
What would G be, Michelle? Documented family crisis, or what would you show as documentation?
We've been evicted. Or our house is burnt down and we need to, to me, that would be a family crisis or an emergency.
But would we require documentation for that? We wouldn't just take it at face value. We're going through a traumatic divorce. We have been, we're. I guess that's my question.
Do we, I guess, is it required by law for us to have documentation?
No, none of this is required. It's all up to the board. That's the
Except
thing.
for except for 33204, it
Right.
says documented, but
Yeah.
I just don't know, if somebody was gonna take this to the letter of the law, if a family was going through a traumatic, what would we ask for? I just
Well-
don't know if,
without overstepping.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why I asked that
Boundary, yeah.
question. I get that that's somewhat ambiguous, cause my idea of a family crisis or emergency could be different to somebody else's, but I mean,
Right.
I also feel like, so, you know, the house burnt down and you're waiting for, like, we're really gonna
Yeah.
say, I'm gonna mark you differently until I see something in I don't know.
Right, or
Right.
the house flooded, or,
Right.
you know,
I mean, if they're really going through that and then the school's requiring something, that's just, you know,
Yeah,
fuel
that's
to the fire.
Insult to
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
car broke down and, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. If
and
they,
they're a mile away from even the nearest
Right.
bus stop.
Yeah, we're thinking of extreme, but there could
Yeah.
be that, or, you know, yours. So, I don't know, I just, the documented piece, because you will have people that hold that to the letter of the law, and I
Right.
just, what would we really require?
and I don't know, I mean, I would say if it's not covered in statute and we're going to create that, then the board needs to figure out what's the documentation.
Right,
And I don't know, I would think that maybe we just line that out, because I don't,
And
I
how do
get
you document
tired.
every scenario?
well, true. And I get tired of people forgetting that everyone has common sense. And if we can get back to understanding
Mm-hmm,
that, you know,
mm-hmm.
bad things happen and sometimes you just don't want to.
Well, and I have a other side of that is, it's not necessarily anyone else's business. Like, if you're going through something,
Exactly.
you know, if you're going to court because of a custodial thing, like,
Right.
you don't want people to know your business
Yeah.
necessarily. So that I
Right.
just feel like that feels intrusive to me, and we can't lose sight of the human element. If it, like, we're just gonna trust it. If somebody starts abusing it, you're gonna get wind of it. You're gonna figure it out. But that we want to let people still be human and have some privacy. Are you thinking of something else for I?
Well, I'm wondering, I mean, because Ramona talked about delineating the following absences are not used in calculating the attendance record. Um,
yeah, which were the 504 and the IEP.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got, when we have the 33204, which addresses the medical
Mm-hmm.
issue.
But we do typically excuse, like, you know, there's kids who have ongoing doctor's appointments that are consistent.
Yeah.
If you have, I mean, the counseling side of that, because for some families, the only time that it's available is 2:30 on a Wednesday.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't penalize kids for doing what they need to do, or families. Oh, I'm so glad you changed that word.
I think my language is correct, but what I'm trying to get at is, the other unusual circumstances judged by the principal as extraordinary on the individual merits of the case. Well, we're taking extraordinary out of the thing, it's just criteria. But I also think that the building principal should have control. So other unusual circumstances determined by the principal as meriting additional understanding.
I like
Is
it.
that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't wanna make it so soft, but I also
But
don't
I think
want
you're
it to be
putting it in the
rigid.
hands of the principal, like,
Correct.
there could be an extraordinary circumstance that,
Yeah,
you're making a concession for because of the impact it's having on the family and the kids.
correct,
So, using some common sense and some discretion, yep.
right.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Good job. We'll keep you. For tomorrow. I used to say that to the staff all the time. I'll keep you. I like you. They'd laugh just like you are. Others determined by the principal's made. Yep, I think that's perfect.
Alright, so,
What's interesting too is to see, in this, administrative guidelines is, some of the policies it refers to in here, I assume those were hyperlinked in
Mhm.
somewhere, that no longer exist on the,
Website.
yeah.
Do you feel like that would be something that would be worthwhile having the rest of the board view? And then, I mean, Lisa and I are gonna look at it for sure, but you guys might have some input as to like, this would be really great to bring back or have, or, I don't know, I feel like a workshop is coming on.
Yeah. I'm trying to find, the truancy portion, but there's no, page numbers, Attendant zone transfers. This was a nice form, right here is the attendant zone transfer form.
Mhm. It's funny to see some of those old docs.
Okay, so what is this? Oh, that's the missing child. I just did that, so maybe I'm getting close. 3,035.
The 2007 version just mentions the, habitual truancy is 3 or more violations of the attendance policy.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see right there, okay. I'll fix this and then cut back to it. Okay.
was like, I'm just trying to figure this
Supported by
out.
504 and IEP plan are, can't you just use are protected?
But what are they protected from?
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, are exempt, but then it's like, no. I mean, is it even necessary to state this?
Where, what are you stating? Page,
It's can you scroll the page up a smidge?
Up.
Oh, okay, down,
Down.
right there.
right there.
Is your mouse reversed? I'm curious.
I don't know, like here, I'm going
That's
down.
down, right?
Right.
Here, I'm going up.
Right.
Okay, so go back up to where it says criteria considered when reviewing a petition for a waiver of the attendance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Would this be considered in the waiver? So could it be, like students
Yeah.
with identified disabilities supported by a 504 and IEP, and that's alone, that's a,
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
we just add it
Yep.
into a J
Yep.
or a G or I,
Yep.
whatever.
Then let's do this.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought in the,
There.
earlier when I was
Yeah.
messing with it, yeah,
Okay.
Cause it's just part of that stream of,
right, yep.
okay.
Perfect. Because that's where I was like, why are we
Mhm.
lining these?
Cause then it's considered, cause I mean, again, just because you have a 504, it doesn't mean that you are 100%, you can't just
Right.
be gone, so
Right.
it's,
But it's a condition to consider.
yep, yep.
Or an element to consider,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yep.
Alright, 7.
Now you're down to elementary schools. We're on page 5 out of 7. Woo woo!
I just don't know if you need any of that paragraph.
None of the current ISBA versions have anything with specific to elementary schools.
Yeah, the athletics portion of this is quite in depth. These guidelines. Do we have that? That should be on our website. Wonder why they call this 2550. I think that's the one that we.
Michelle, are you on the elementary schools part?
I was, yes.
So the one line where it says elementary school officials, which sounds dumb, elementary principals
Mm-hmm.
will follow, or elementary students will follow the same procedures as secondary schools, except that credits are not issued for elementary students.
Right.
Do we need anything else other than that?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is why can't we cruise up, back up to the top?
And merge.
Well, up here where we're, cause the way I'm reading this policy and trying to, we've got a blanket statement at the beginning. Students are required to go to school.
Right.
Okay, then we say, to graduate, you gotta have this many people. Then we go to the 90% attendance. And we start with, for students in grade 9 through 12. Why can't we start with
That's what I thought.
elementary
too.
students
Yep.
are
And just go in
expected?
succession.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Because then you could just say, then it just is a good segue if you're saying that one sentence, you know, except for the withholding of credits, and then it starts with the 9 through 12.
Right.
But I feel like where they're defining absences, suspension, truancy, everything should stick to the same thing that
Yeah,
we're
whether you're,
defining. Yeah.
right, like we can explain all of that, but it's
Mhm.
not specific to just elementary.
Right.
So, let me go back here.
So, maybe I'll wait for Lynn to come back in. Cause this is an old, guidelines manual. And I don't know if this statement is reflected in their current manual. Oh, you might have a conflict. Let me see what the current wording. I'm gonna step outside just for a second and make a phone call real quick.
Okay. Alright, so. Students in grades K through 5. Students in grades K through 5. Regular attendance is required with minimum of absences. Excessive absenteeism may be considered when deciding to retain or promote a student for the next school year. And then I think that should go, sorry, I'm being distracted myself.
I forgot.
Okay,
No, I like that.
okay. At the truancy hearing, the board may vote to notify the county prosecutor, because we don't notify the court, we notify the prosecutor, of the excessive truancy pursuant to Idaho Code 33206.
So then when we take out everything else, that whole rest of the blue?
Well, that I just copy and pasted
Okay.
instead of scrolling because this is a
Okay,
very
yeah,
long
yeah, yeah.
document. Okay, so then for students in grades 6 through 8, so then we've got,
We have each grade band.
right. So looking at this before. And it's consistent language. I mean, for students 9 through 12, it's just one little blurb, one short little sentence. Although, actually, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna just cross out the other one.
Take that one out.
So Brittany-
Well, class period, I guess, is really the only thing. Well, actually, it doesn't apply either way in an instance of if I come in the middle of class 50% through 51%, but I was at the orthodontist
Mhm.
or eye doctor or
Right.
what have you, then I would assume that even though I wasn't there for the 50%, I would still get credit because I have an excuse absence for that period. Well, the principal doesn't have to believe the student is excessively absent. This policy says 3 absences, or,
I think laying it out this way
mhm,
looks a little bit more,
easier to find.
yeah. And even though,
then.
It's way more user friendly.
What does that say?
But does that say?
That's interesting.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know that, I think we might be speaking also
Go ahead.
right underneath this, we're not quite there yet, I think, but where it starts in with I was going through the truancies to, find out exactly, you know, how many absences are we considering a truancy. This sort of says 3, but prior to that, it says in order to comply with Idaho Code 33-2073, the board adopts the following to meet the due process requirements of this 33-2073. But 33-2073, pertains to any child not enrolled in a public school and the parents are failing to meet the requirements of 33-202, then the board's authorized representative sends a letter to,
The prosecuting attorney.
yeah, so that really doesn't apply to a student who's already in school.
Well, it does state though under poop, 206?
Right. And 33-207-2,
Well, it says under 206, a child who is an habitual truant shall come under the purview of the Juvenile Corrections Act if he or she was within the age of compulsory attendance at the time of the violation. Well, the only way they could be in violation is if they were in public school, and it specifically addresses a public school pupil who, in the judgment of the Board of Trustees, repeatedly has violated the attendance regulations established by the board,
right,
or any child whose parents or guardians or any of them have failed or refused to cause such child to be instructed as provided in section 202.
right,
And then point 2, that's the habitual truant.
right.
And then point
Yeah, I just changed it.
202
Okay.
actually says there to conform to the so it says, let me start back from the start
Yeah,
of the
I just
sentence.
changed the 2073 to 2072, cause 3 doesn't pertain to public school, or 2 pertains to the public school student, 3 does not. 3 pertains to if somebody sees a kid.
Where are you putting that?
I updated it on page 6.
Oh,
Under
gotcha.
tardies.
Okay, perfect.
It's like, cause we're not
Okay.
complying with that, because what I went to look for was, somewhere up there where you were working,
Right.
I was
On page
thinking
3.
that, yeah, maybe this portion here, this in order to comply with blah, 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 might need to be moved up there under the whole truancy thing, because really it's an explanation of, what truancy is, which is the whole point of.
Right. But I think with respect to the way we've written this out,
Mm-hmm,
or once we clean it up and can actually see the flow
yeah.
on the 90% attendance,
Yep,
for me the purpose was, let's put kindergarten back up there
right,
so that we're talking about all grades. And then when we come down, I mean, granted, this,
yep, you're fine, just keep going along with your thought there, although I did have, now that Lynn's back in the room, and I know you guys aren't necessarily using this, but there's a statement in here, I don't know if it's in the whatever guideline book or whatever you're using now, the manual. I think we have access to that, I guess I could've looked, but it says, underneath, in reference to policy 2630, which is homework and makeup work, it says under the guidelines for makeup work effects of attendance, it says teachers shall allow and encourage students to make up assignments missed due to absence for any reason, which I actually agree with. But this policy we're working on says that, somewhere in here that the students are not allowed to make up the work, period. Work missed during a truancy and any subsequent suspension may not be made up for the credit. So I don't know
Well, then how do you earn the credit back?
Yeah, that's what I don't, okay. So I think they should be, I mean, that should be the thing, is
Yeah,
trying to
because
get them.
otherwise, where's the teeth?
Right, why do the work
Right.
if you're not gonna,
If you're not required to do it, so you're saying a kid that,
yeah,
took off,
right, because right
why
before
would you just be
that,
absent? I mean, why, if I don't wanna do the work, then I'm just gonna be gone, so I don't have to, cause then then if I'm gonna automatically get it, yeah.
right, and then, right, if you keep scrolling down, there, because, right, keep going, it's way down underneath the, yep, keep going. Way down there, yep, keep going. Here we go, because the B, right before it, says students will be provided the opportunity to make up work missed during a suspension, and then the following one says, nope, even if you're suspended, you can't make it up for credit. Alright,
Well, again, it's just double jeopardy a little bit, because
Yeah.
if I suspend you, you can't make up the work, so your grade is automatically plummeting, right? Like, this is more
Mhm.
high school, cause elementary, we don't do grades, but, it's automatically plummeting. But then,
so we
the only
need-
way you can earn credit back would be that you do the work.
right, so we just need to change this down here, this,
Yeah.
and say,
Cause how else would you do the work? I mean, how else would you be able
Right.
to earn credit back? Cause otherwise, then are you going to Mountain View and that's the only option you have? And it's
Right.
just gonna be different work? you talking to us?
I don't know who I'm
So
talking
she
to,
got
but
it.
I'm trying to move something and
We did it.
it was like bouncing around.
Yeah.
Stop!
I
Okay.
think am I typing too loud?
Well, you say this work is required to be made up. I'll just change this. Makeup work is required. I'm thinking out loud.
Why?
Oops, no. I. I think I just have to think through this. Still clunky. It's not. Work missed during. Let's go back to the same thing.
So when we jump down to the categories, which it said absence is classified, but then we immediately say absences will be considered under 3 categories. So I wanted to say absences categories or absence categories. So absences, I feel we should be defining, so to speak, an absence.
So not to
Which is-
include the word in the actual definition?
Correct.
Yeah.
So absences, not present in class. This can be for any reason except suspension, truancy, or approved school activity. For absences unrelated to school activities or suspension, students' absence shall be verified.
This is the difference between an excused and not excused, essentially.
Okay.
This is also where, they're calling in the morning if the kid's not showing up for school to check in and
Right.
make sure that the kid didn't get off at the wrong stop or was supposed to walk to school and didn't make it.
Chose to. I'm not following this. Truancy is an absence that occurs without the knowledge and consent of the parents and concurrence of school authorities.
Yeah. I
What are we saying?
don't know.
Well, I mean, a lot of times the parents do know, it's just not an excused one, you know?
So in essence, that's sort of a hard one because in essence, you're saying unless the school agrees with the parent, it's not an excused absence, which is pretty much true. But at the same time, it's not, well, I guess it is sort of dependent upon whether the school accepts it as excused or not, which is what I think it was saying, is trying to say.
Well, a truant is someone who has violated the attendance regulations established by the board.
Right.
Okay.
So just strike that then and say that, because that's what they're trying to establish here along with this work, which I just keep rewriting and rewriting because it just sounds funky to me.
Okay.
And it's still not
What's
correct.
a habitual truant? So
Hmm.
it says it's a habitual truant.
Hmm.
So what if someone is not habitually truant, they're just truant? What does that mean?
Well, there's really no difference though, really, right?
In statute,
It's all
206 is defined as habitual truant.
Right,
It's
that's what I was reading. I'm listening, Ramona.
yeah, it's all sort of dependent upon the board.
Okay, so,
I mean, it's pretty wide open, really. So we're saying truancy is gonna be established according to this policy further down. Truancy is established by 3 consecutive absences that would be unexcused. So habitually truant would be multiple absences in groups of 3. So 3 or more absences with more than one occurrence. Yeah, because right below that is that, well, and then you have the stupid makeup work thing I was trying to, cause it was saying that they couldn't make it up and they couldn't get credit, but the whole point is to make up the work to get the credit back.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the changes that you made.
so truancy is multiple absences,
Mm-hmm.
with more than one occurrence.
Yeah.
And made in violation of the attendance policy? Or is that even necessary?
Well, if you scroll, can you scroll down there, because here's where, right there. Now we're back to this part. This is where I was saying it's under
Okay.
tardies, but it's really the definition of what is truancy.
Okay,
So if you have multiple tardies of missing 50% or more of the class, then yes, you can be subject to it being considered truant.
okay.
And then the rest of it, when it, after that 3, and it just says a violation of this policy result notification to the student, it's really going back up to what you said at the top.
Yeah,
Like it's just redundant now of notification of the charge, opportunity to hear the charge, like
right.
Right,
it's all, I mean, we can strike through a ton of that, it's just, do you wanna put truancy is multiple absences with 1 or more occurrence made in violation of the attendance policy, 3 or do you put 3 or more violations of the attendance policy, failure to attend during the full school day or full period, or continued pattern of absence that are avoidable in practice may be deemed to be habitual truancy by the Board of Trustees. Is that whole definition enough versus multiple absences with
Where were you reading that?
on one
Number
right
one.
there?
Oh, okay.
That's what Ramona is saying,
Yeah.
that is the definition, because then it just goes through the procedural, you go to a hearing, you go, which we
Right.
already said that above. So you could supplant what you put in red for multiple absences and just put this definition, and then basically you're gonna strike through the rest of it, don't you think, Ramona?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say
Yeah.
earlier, is that it's sort of in a weird spot being
Yeah.
under tardies, cause it's not a definition of tardies.
I do like, will you scroll down to number 5 though? I do like this part though, it says, in the event the student is a habitual truant, the board shall forward its findings and conclusions to the prosecuting attorney of the jurisdiction where the school is situated, proceeding in accordance. And so we kind of say that up above as well, but I don't know if it's a good reminder, I don't know.
So tardies needs to go into our list above, where you have absence categories. We just need to move that first, oh, well, it doesn't tell us what a tardy is.
I think that's just separate to the
Yeah.
truancy piece, I think it's just that we're gonna
Okay.
address tardies,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, but yeah, I think the whole 3 or more, blah, 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 needs to be.
Yeah. But it is starting to get hard to read of where did,
Yeah,
cause I worry that we're gonna find things that we're missing, cause we think we have it in, you know.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I just kind of copy, so it sounds more formal. Because, you know, I'm pretty casual, but, so absences are failing to attend school for the full day, for the full school day or full period,
Mm-hmm.
which is correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So would you have to say not present in class?
no.
Yeah, I do like that though, it's short and sweet.
Short and sweet, just to the point.
Yeah.
You're just not in class.
Yep. This can be for any reason.
What does that need to move up here?
So then the question. I don't know,
This
it's
is actually a statement. I'm just playing with this, so. No. I don't know if that would go out. This is just like a statement though. I'm getting sloppy. gonna say that. Policy. Do we still need your red, do you think, since I moved that? Oh, did I cut that out or did I just?
What, tardies?
Yeah,
I did. I just did it because I think that unless tardies should be a consideration after absences, but
oh, no, I wasn't
Oh, I
talking
like
Oh.
where you
about
put
that,
it,
yeah,
Michelle.
okay.
yeah,
She's talking about your part where it says multiple absences with more than one occurrence and made in violation of the attendance policy. Cause she put the definition of truancy.
I put in order to comply with blah, 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 underneath the definition of truancy, I took it out of the tardy area.
Okay. Okay. The little numbers throw me off. They're like making me twitch. But that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to figure out the flow of what we're doing here. So we have the absence categories.
Yeah, oh, I don't know why it stayed as a 2 and not a 1. Huh. Let me do this. Because it should go out here. Huh, it still wants to make it 1 of 2, that is so weird.
Wait a minute. So
Is it more convoluted?
yeah, for me it is, which is fine.
No, the whole thing's convoluted, I think it's
Okay.
too much somewhere.
All right, so let's brainstorm this. So we have the tardies, we talk about tardies, and then we go into absence categories,
Mm-hmm.
Which I think we need to,
Truancy needs to come out from there.
no, because truancy is a category for absences. So if we put the red letter definition back under truancy,
Okay.
and then right under there delineate in order to comply with this, so that it is specific to truancy,
Sure, yep.
that everyone can follow that flow. It may be,
You want it like this, or just a statement without any bullets?
I think,
It's just awkward, it's just,
here we go, I have an idea. So we have absence categories, and then let's go here to truancy,
defined? I
um,
don't know.
procedures. Come back. Why can't I move? Okay, there we go. So I am moving. So if we, so in order to comply with the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the following, okay, truancy processes. Truancy process hereby adopts the following
So I'm trying to find the guideline thing.
three or more violations of the attendance policy.
So,
Okay.
alright. Can I write on this paper
Yeah.
copy?
Right there, Ramona. Do you want a pencil or a pen?
Well, I was thinking a highlighter, but,
Oh, okay.
so I thought one of those would,
What color highlighter? Which
Just
one?
Just a yellow.
Yellow?
Color, yeah. I mean, I think one of these would probably work. Okay, thank you. So I notify verbally. Put it in writing.
So, okay, so Ramona, you're, the ones that you added, did you add that via statute?
Which ones were that?
Um,
That 3 or more violation thing?
well, no, cause I think that was already on the policy.
Yeah.
No, but you're, see the little 1, 2, 3,
Yep,
okay,
yep.
you added those, but was that from statute?
No, it was all clumped, it was all in one paragraph.
Okay.
No. There is nothing in statute that defines anything about truancy at all. There is no, the definition of truancy is literally created by the board. So whatever the board determines is truancy, is truant, that's it. And however it is handled, that's the whole thing, is there's only a process in statute after truancy has been determined.
Okay.
And that's literally determined by the board. If the board says, well, if you miss 6 months of school, then you're truant, then that's what it would be. If the board says when you miss 2 days, you're truant, then that's what it would be. The reason I added the red letters, which are the red words, which are probably still not good, I've reworded it 10 times, is because the previous paragraph where this was said that in suspension you have to make up your work, right?
Mhm.
And then this went on to say, oh, and by the way, if you're suspended, you don't get to make up your work. When the policy or the teacher's guidelines or whatever, and I think the board would rather that the student worked to make up the work to get the credit instead of telling them, nope, too bad. I mean, like, how are they ever supposed to get the
Right,
credit if
right.
they can't make it
Right.
up? Okay, so I have another, and there again, this is an old guidelines, so I'm not sure that this is still in place, but I don't wanna be contradictory. So, the old admin guidelines handbook, which this policy referred to, under 3050, here, there, the, administrative or, their procedure was to, notify the student and the parents verbally and in writing with a warning that the credit was gonna be withheld if they reached 7 absences in a class. Okay, and then notify the student verbally and the parents and in writing when the credit is withheld because they've missed 10. So at 7 absences in a class, they got a warning verbally and in writing, and at 10 absences, credit was withheld.
But at some point that changed to 6, and then it changed to, because of that, so at some point it changed to 6, because then on here it says the 10th absence as well.
Right.
So the 10th absence is the same with withholding credit.
Okay, okay.
But they, at some point it changed to 6 days instead of 7 days.
Okay.
But I don't
And
know
that's
when
what
that
you guys
happened.
have now, or what the district
Yeah.
has now? Okay. I just wanna make sure that we're not,
Well, that's what they had as of the last time that policy was updated.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, perfect. As long as everybody stays in a line, I don't wanna put the teachers or
Mhm.
whoever in some weird spot because we didn't know that that's how it was. Okay, so then we have elementary. So in elementary, it says we send a letter, at 8, 12, and 15 absences.
Which is weird that it's not the same.
Yeah, and this is the old book, so I just, I don't know, this might be something we need to look at, just to make sure that we're in alignment with what actually happens.
Well, when I was going back through, I remember, based on that, I
Mhm.
created here's an elementary guideline, and it was the same as that.
Okay.
But then that never made it to policy,
Oh,
it sounds like.
okay,
So it was in there, but that was never a policy. But
Oh.
the original one really just addressed high school mostly.
yeah,
So why that changed?
yeah. Yeah, and then it says any student under elementary who misses more than a maximum of 18 days during the year may be considered for non-promotion. And that probably could have come
Mhm.
about because we were trying to keep them with their peers, but I don't know, I mean, I don't know that
Yeah.
if admin or the teachers feel like that needs to be revisited, or, you know, how much does that really help or hurt the student, you know?
Mhm.
So, the other thing, I guess we need to, look at, I'm not finding the form here, but also under the elementary, when it says, you know, if they meet the max of 18 days, there's the attendance review committee, which they make up of the
Mhm.
people that know the student. It says possible recommendations, and Michelle needs to hear this too. Possible recommendations may include, but are not limited to, retention, probation, home visits by the school nurse, or referral to the district court pursuant to Idaho Code 33206. So do you know if we still do that? Like, would we send the nurse out to their house, or?
If there was I mean, that's starting to get into welfare check type things.
Yeah,
Like, we've
right.
definitely done that if we haven't heard from somebody
Sure.
in a while, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay, is there something going on? And so, but it wouldn't be a nurse, it would be the SRO,
Right.
and that would be just to make sure the family was okay. We have had situations if we've like talked to the family and there's something going on,
Mhm.
where we'll send the nurse out as a resource. Not, you wouldn't do that if there was zero contact, but if the nurse is like, I'm just thinking of, we're really struggling with lice,
Yeah.
the nurse might go out to help support the family.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But that would be part of the discussion with the,
Yeah. Okay. So I guess my other question is, do we want to add any
that language.
yeah, like the 8, 12, and 15 absences thing, or expect a letter, or just what we have is good? Because like you said, we really did go into sort of detail
Mm-hmm.
with the upper grades. Let's see, what did we say for elementary? Maybe we crossed it all out. Yep, we crossed it all out, so we didn't, we just did the, high school and the 6 through 8. Let me go back to those sections.
Question, maybe I'll answer it here. I think it will just say. Okay, so the final paragraph states, in the event the board determines a student is a habitual truant, the board shall forward its findings and conclusions to the prosecuting attorney of the jurisdiction in which the school is situated for proceeding in accordance with Idaho Code 33307 as now in effect or hereafter amended. Okay, that's what the language is. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
accurate, but it should be 206. But all of our schools are in Cooney County, but some of our people are in Bonner. So isn't it the jurisdiction where they live, not the school?
It would be 100% where they live, because
Mhm.
even when we have to do like a welfare check, there are situations where like Rathdrum can't go out to Hauser.
Right.
Yeah, it's where they live.
Okay.
Everything's based upon those,
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
and it's, yeah, the county, it says, and authorized and blah, 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 shall notify in writing the prosecuting attorney in the county of the pupil's residence
Mm-hmm.
and recommend and that's, 2073. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 2. My bad, or wait, this is,
Okay.
yeah.
Emails. Section
Yeah, 2.
2.
3 is students who are not enrolled in the
Yeah.
school. Yep, 2.
Okay. Oh, I can take it from down here. That's a bit smarter.
So I'm gonna cross off number 9 in there because you just added it at the top.
That is correct. Wait, is that where? Yeah.
You guys, we made it through this policy.
We hope.
Okay, so it's 1 o'clock and you guys have been here for a long time. I appreciate getting through this. My question for you is, I do think we probably, before we send this out to parents, we look at one more time with the cleanup version. So, but this is the kicker.
School starting.
No.
Oh.
how do we show you a cleaned up version? Are we taking off the colors? Are we taking off all the strike throughs? Because which version then goes to the board for approval? Because we might have two versions.
Well, this has to go out to the parents first.
Right, but for that part, we'll do a cleaned up version, that's not a big deal, but you're gonna want the board to see all of these changes. If we do a cleaned up version and make some more changes to that, do we make sure that we reflect that back in this one? You know what I mean, which version goes to the board if we then clean it up? Does that make sense?
I think they get two versions, cause I think we need a version with all the big strikeouts out of it.
Exactly,
And then we could just do an iteration of, here's iteration 1, 2.
so what I said to Rosanna was, so this one right now I just named working draft 9/2/22. The next one, instead of saying like working draft 1, working draft, like
Yeah.
let's just put the date we
Yeah.
worked on it.
Yep,
Because if we do, then the next reiteration of that is next Friday,
mhm,
then you'll get to see a really clean version. We make whatever last changes we're gonna do. The kicker is if we do that, then we still have to send it out, so
Sure.
it won't make it until the October board meeting.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not as though we don't have a attendance policy
Right.
now, so.
Right. But I mean, I was like, we could try to clean it up really fast, but I mean, you guys have been here since 9, and that's a long time, so it might be better to have fresh eyes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, yeah, cause it all reads the same to me
Okay.
now.
So are you good with us doing that? So
Yeah.
we'll do working draft, the date, working draft, the date, and then the board will get both copies,
Yep, and then Go
What
ahead.
I would recommend,
okay?
and it may be a little bit more daunting on Rosanna, but if we take our old policy, the 2007,
Uh-huh,
and then align out where these changes are on that policy, because it's the one that's uploaded,
right.
or the 2000, whatever one's on the
It's the
website.
2014, I think.
Okay, so if we take that policy and then we apply whatever changes, whether it's lining out or whatever, because this is a merged version of
Exactly.
multiples.
Yep.
So take what we have on the website,
Mm-hmm.
merge the changes,
Yep.
not
Not
so-
adding any new.
Right, find the language that's there and see where it's aligned over here, and if it's not there, then just line it out and copy over what we've said. Does that make, am I making sense?
mhm.
Okay, so that policy is what's coming to the board with the changes on it,
Mhm.
not this one with all the merged, because I don't even know what to
It's
say.
hard to distinguish.
Right,
But then don't you think that then they would see all of it? Like you have that one, the old one, but then they're seeing your working draft as well, and they see that progression. Cause if my concern is if we spend 2 weeks and actually it'll be 3, so we made changes here, right? Next week, you guys will see a cleaned up version. Likely you might make some changes, you're gonna add some ands or thes or
Right,
whatever.
right,
We're
right.
gonna send it out to parents. We're gonna then go through that feedback. So we're gonna have 3 iterations of this draft.
right,
So to Ramona's point, the board is gonna see all those iterations. Because otherwise you're not seeing the progression of the old into why we made layers of changes, cause it didn't all happen at one time.
do you know if we can attach a file folder
mhm.
to board book? Because the only reason I'm asking that is it would be more.
Not under the current version we just went back to, no. If we pay the extra money, I know what you're talking about, there's a way to do, in fact, all of these policies would live in there, and you can do manuals and all of
Right.
that, yeah.
Because I know, like, for Bob,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to see, but if we give him 3 copies,
Right,
that's gonna be like, what are we looking at?
Right.
What we can tell them is, tell him which one to pay attention to, or the board to pay attention to. These are just an FYI for historical purposes. This is the one we're asking you to approve.
or we could do this, We have this draft, this is where all the changes have been
Mhm.
made. We do a cleaned up version, we print that copy, and then you're going through it manually. If you make changes there, we reflect those changes here. And then when we do that, so the changes, instead of digitally initially, like you can, if we're gonna add the A's or whatever, we do it on the paper copy and then we manually put them into this one digital version. That's another way to do it, so that it's only one version of the working
Okay.
draft that reflects all of it in one succinct way, but you're still being able to see the cleaned version, because that's how we're gonna find the A's and at some point we
Right.
do have to look at that, but we
Mhm.
do it manually and then add it digitally once we're like, okay, we like this. That's another cleaner way. Kind of.
Well, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. What's being sent out to the parents?
Well, we have to do a cleaned out version to the parents, but we
Okay.
always label that differently. We always put stakeholder input. So,
Okay.
and that's what I said to Rosanna. At some point, if we don't make changes, but that's never happened, that could be the version that then gets uploaded, because if we don't, once we do that, it's already clean. So we could we could name it the stakeholder, but you're gonna look at it and probably add additional things. So.
Right, based on their input.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah,
Because we won't do that one until after next Friday. Once you get to have a fresh mind and look at it, we'll take that, clean it all up, put stakeholder, that goes out, and then, but when we've done that, that's some of, I think Rosanna's confusion is we've had a couple of layers of revisions,
right,
and then it's not always reflective on the same draft that goes up to the board.
right. And I do believe if we get into the habit of adding that date,
Mm-hmm.
always.
I like that, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that way you know when was the last time that was played with.
So if
Right.
we had the upgraded,
Mm-hmm.
we could do that. It does version controlling,
Okay.
So
It does it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Cause then you have actual quality control. You can always, you sort of can with Google too, but
Right.
Well, are we not buying that version anytime soon?
we have to ask the board. We need to go to the board, and it was like $700 difference. And I asked Rosanna to put it on the agenda.
Okay. Because the other thing I was thinking of is, would it be worthwhile, we get through this attendance, we get through the school dog one next week, then those will both go up to the October, but then once we're through those, could we have a couple of sessions where if the board says yes to the upgraded, then we play around with it and
Yes.
manipulate our system into the board book. Like,
Yeah.
we make
Yes.
changes so it's not all Google Drive, and then
Right.
whatever we're doing, because we already started our procedural piece, like, then what parts are in Google Drive and what parts are here, and then that we can redraft our procedures.
Right, and the whole thing is the more we can use board book, and it does all of that. It does manuals, it does policy, it does
That
files.
takes off stuff from her plate. Yeah.
Right, and it's all right there for the
Right.
agenda, and it's all attached to the agenda.
Yeah.
It's one place, and she can email everybody out everything. She doesn't have to
Yeah.
do text and email and board book and.
Right. So
You know.
so if we can get through, because we'll have to get through these two, and then so at this point we don't have any policies going on the September agenda, because we won't get through this one, and so we don't have any.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
that's fine.
There's a
Yeah,
lot on
yeah.
the agenda, or if you decide to go that route. So,
I don't like that.
well, Lisa, some of it she's put in follow-up, so it's
Yeah.
condensed, but that's okay. And then if the board says yes, then we can start doing it. Give us a couple of weeks on Friday, so Ramona's not having to try to figure it out by herself after hours.
Okay.
We could play around with it. Would somebody be willing to give us a training?
Oh yeah, they were gonna give us training before, but it ended up the gentleman was out of Texas, and it was
Oh.
like 7 a.m. our time or something. But our schedules were so crazy,
Yeah.
we couldn't get together to go through what they had. I went through quite a bit of it and looked at it, and I really do think it would fit.
It would serve our purposes better.
Yeah, there's never gonna be an absolute
Yeah.
100% woo-woo, but I think it would make things much more streamlined, much more
Mhm.
simpler. We wouldn't have to, it would take away, to some degree, having to rely on somebody's brain that's been here. Oh, well, you were here,
Yeah.
20 years ago. Do you remember this? Or do you
Right.
know where to find, it would start
Instead
to
of it all being
consolidate.
manual, we're gonna utilize the technology in a way
Yes.
that's efficient.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it'd be great for the other thing is the integration to the website. Like now when you, couple things on the website drives me nuts is when you go to the board page and you click on agenda, then it takes you to a page to click another link. No.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
link should take you directly to board book. It shouldn't be click, click, click. Because the other thing is board book at that level gives us a great ability to integrate it into the website and would make
And
it
they'll talk
much
to each
easier
other.
for the parents and the public in general to follow along what we're doing. And we can electronically record our votes, even during a meeting, we just click the yay, the nay, it takes a lot, so she can pay more attention to the note taking. And then if somebody would assume the role of driving the meeting, then we can drive the agenda so that whatever the board is talking about is always present on the screen.
It's way more streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's good.
actually has a lot of capabilities that we can definitely take advantage of.
Sounds like we're
Everybody's-
only using a fraction of it.
Oh yeah, minuscule amount, and
Yeah.
even the way we're using it, I believe isn't the way it was intended to be used, but
Okay.
that's what happens when
Yeah.
you train, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, there is training,
Okay.
it's free, it comes with it, and
So for follow-up for next Friday, all we need to do is Rosanna will update the policy for board consideration, and we're kind of tag teaming some of this together. And then we'll just make a cleaned up version of this one. And then I'll label that working draft and put the date on it
Okay.
or Rosanna will. We'll do that, and then we're gonna tag team that, and then hopefully we can get to the dog.
Okay.
Yeah, are you guys good
look
with
what
that?
I just found.
What is that?
This is a gem. This was non-resident tuition application and acceptance form when we used to make people pay to come into our district.
Do you know when that stopped?
2015. So it went to 2015. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Is that good, Rosanna?
Yes.
We're good? Okay.
I really love
Wouldn't that be
this.
nice if it was streamlined?
I think Mr. Yan did a great job of whoever developed this.
For some reason, I think it was Georgianne, but I
Yeah.
don't know that for sure.
Can you stop recording since we'll go ahead and end the meeting?
Alrighty.
Perfect.